Hey there, I thought tonight we would read a poem by the American Philip Levine, who is a Detroit poet who achieved, perhaps more renown nationally than any other Detroit poet I can think of. He was the poet laureate for a time of the U.S. He was born in Detroit in 1928, the child of poor Russian Jewish immigrants. He graduated from Wayne State University with a degree in English, like me. That's something Philip Levine and I have in common. He graduated in 1950 and quickly thereafter moved away from Detroit to Iowa and then on to California, where he lived for the rest of his life. I forget if I said he died in 2015. But the city of Detroit haunts his poetry sort of forever. He returns again and again in the poetry to the place of his youth and his awakening and his sort of formation. And I should mention, when I say he was born in 1928, he was born on January 10th, 1928, which is important for the poem that I'm going to read. But Philip Levine became very well known for being this voice of the working class, a blue-collar poet. That is what he specifically sought out to do. He was exposed at Wayne State to, a lot of the same poets I was when I earned my degree there, like Whitman and the Romantics, and he actually worked on the line. He worked in factories in Detroit and felt like the working people that he associated with didn't see themselves in literature, and he sort of embarked on this project to represent the lives and the aspirations and the dreams and the grace and the failures of working people in poetry, in what's quite plain spoken verse. I guess I think when I read a Philip Levine poem, I have this sense of this beam of light kind of shining on the page. I think there's a kind of almost religious quality. It's almost like a sanctifying of the kind of lived experience of working people. And it's it's not sentimental or anything. It's harsh, and there's a kind of profound despair in a lot of his poetry. He often writes kind of from the first person, which sometimes is him and sometimes is, fictional characters, and sometimes it's a kind of interweaving of both. But there's a lot about dreams unfulfilled and, life not going the way you hoped it would, and the weariness and exhaustion of working all day, and the sort of kind of trap of time and every day being the same. And then at the same time, there's this kind of ennobling grace that can be quite breathtaking, I think, in Philip Levine. So what I have is this collection, 7 Years from Somewhere, published in 1979, and it opens in this lovely way with this very Walt Whitman-esque gesture, where he just speaks to you as the reader. Oh, here he is. Here's Philip Levine. And so I thought I would pick one that is, perhaps less full of despair. I think it's an especially lovely one, called Let Me Begin Again. Let me begin again as a speck of dust caught in the night winds, sweeping out to sea. Let me begin this time knowing the world is salt water and dark clouds. The world is grinding and sighing all night, and dawn comes slowly and changes nothing. Let me go back to land after a lifetime of going nowhere, this time lodged in the feathers of some scavenging gull, white above the black ship that docks and broods upon the oily waters of your harbor. This leaking freighter has brought a hold full of hayforks from Spain, great Jeroboams of dark Algerian wine, and quill pens that can't write English. The sailors have stumbled off toward the bars or the bright houses. The captain closes his log and falls asleep. 1:10:28. Tonight I shall enter my life after being at sea for ages, quietly, in a hospital named for an automobile. The one child of millions of children who has flown alone by the stars above the black wastes of moonless waters that stretched forever, who has turned golden in the full sun of a new day. A tiny, wise child who this time will love his life because it is like no other.